Thanksgiving, praise, worship. You've heard these words 1,000 times, right? We use them all the time, sometimes all in the same breath, almost as if they're the same thing. But what if they're not? What if they're actually distinct, crucial steps on a single journey, a path into God's presence? Well, today, we're going to unpack exactly that.
So let's get right to it. What really is the difference between these three powerful acts? It turns out there's a clear, sequential path, and honestly, understanding it can completely change how you approach your spiritual life. It's so easy to just kind of lump them all together. And yeah, they're definitely related, but think of it this way. What if they're not just a pile of good things to do, but a path you're meant to walk? That's what we're exploring today. Each step is unique, and each one gets you ready for what comes next. So let's really dig into this idea of a triune path. It's not three separate things. It's three distinct parts that make up one single journey toward a pretty incredible destination.
And get this, the order is absolutely key. It's not random. You start with thanksgiving, which leads you to praise, and it's only through praise that you can really truly enter into worship. You can't just skip ahead. Every step has a specific job to do, preparing you for the next one.
Okay, so think of this as our map for the whole journey. This is our guide. You can see how it connects each act to a different focus, a different part of us, our body, soul, or spirit, and even a specific location in the ancient temple. So let's break it all down, starting right at the very beginning, Thanksgiving.
All right, let's take our first step onto the path. We are starting at the very entrance, the place of Thanksgiving. This is square one for everybody. So what is Thanksgiving, really? It's all about gratitude for what God has done. It's focused on His actions. Maybe He healed you, provided for your family, answered a specific prayer. It's connected to our physical, natural lives, the things we can actually see and touch and experience with our bodies. And this verse right here is our key. It literally tells us that Thanksgiving is how we enter His gates. If we're using that temple analogy, this is the Great Court, the big, open, outermost area. It's the public entrance, accessible to everyone.
And that's what makes it the perfect starting point. Who can give thanks? Absolutely anybody, because God makes the sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Everybody on this planet has something to be thankful for. It's the universal gate.
Okay, so we're through the dates of Thanksgiving. Now we're moving deeper, into the inner courts. This is step 2, praise. Now, praise shifts our focus. We're moving from what God has done to who God is. We're not just thanking Him for a gift anymore. We're honoring the giver for His character, His majesty, His eternal nature. This engages our soul, our mind, our will, and our emotions. And here is a critical distinction. Praise isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. The Bible calls it a sacrifice. That means it requires something from us. It's an active choice, a deliberate offering to honor God, sometimes even when we don't feel like it.
This verse from Hebrews just nails it. We offer the sacrifice of praise. And think about it, in the temple, where were sacrifices made? In the inner court. This is where we move past simple gratitude and we start to give something of ourselves.
This analogy is just so powerful. In that inner court, there was something called the laver, a huge basin where priests had to wash themselves to be cleansed before they could go any further into the temple. Praise is our laver. It's the place where we repent, where we deal with our junk and allow ourselves to be cleansed, preparing us for the holiest place of all. So, having been cleansed in the courts of praise, we are finally prepared to approach the destination, the very heart of the temple, the Holy of Holies. This is the place of true worship. So what is worship then? It's not just singing a slow song or raising your hands. It's defined as total surrender and intimate communion. It's really a state of being, not just something you do. It's where our spirit connects directly with God's spirit. And this is why Jesus Himself said, God is a spirit. True worship bypasses the physical and the emotional and becomes a direct spirit-to-spirit connection. That's what happened in the Holy of Holies, the very dwelling place of God, and it is the ultimate destination of our journey. And this slide really highlights a crucial difference. Like we said, anyone can give thanks. And even people without a real relationship with God can offer praise. Think about King Nebuchadnezzar. He saw God's power and praised Him. But worship, that requires a relationship. It requires that cleansing we talked about back in the courts of praise. You just can't enter God's presence with unconfessed sin. Okay, this brings us to a really important point about how we actually live this out. It's really easy to get comfortable in those outer courts and just never make the full journey. This is what some people call the two-step. We come in with thanksgiving, we move into praise, and then we stop. We go home. But stopping there means we miss the entire point of the journey. We miss out on the intimacy, the guidance, and the empowerment that are only found at the final destination.
You see, true worship isn't just a moment in a church service, it's a lifestyle. It's that total surrender that Abraham showed when he was willing to sacrifice Isaac. It's a life of holiness, of constant communion with God. That's why it's the ultimate goal, a life completely given over to Him.
So this brings us to the final question for all of us to think about. Are we content with just visiting the outer courts of thanksgiving and praise, or are we willing to go through that cleansing process so that we can enter the temple and experience the deep, life-changing intimacy of true worship?